Internet, what is really good? You know what it is. It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And before I introduce the rest of this, I need y'all to pay attention. Because everything you see these characters performing, you are about to learn about in depth, and it's going to be on the test. So remember, buttons do stuff. And I'm going to explain what all of this means. Trust me. Now back to what I do better than anybody else in the business. You know who it is. It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And of course, welcome back to your favorite YouTube show. That show we lovingly call around here Triple, the God explains it all. How everybody doing today? I like to welcome everybody back to the world that is the King of Fighters 94. And yo, we've got a lot of work to do. Trust me. A quick thing, because I don't know if I got a chance to mention this or not. If you press a heavy punch or heavy kick at the character select menu, you can actually select a team alternate color. Figures you might want to know that. Man, you guys do not know how much I have been waiting for this. And because it's important that we delve into our history, our practice participants today will be Fatal Fury's Mai Shiranui and Art of Fighting's Yuri Sakazaki, because remember, it's important that we remember why this crossover exists. Oh, this is unimportant. Mexico is, because that's where we're going. We are going to have a booby ninja and a cute karate girl demonstrate how to play a game in Mexico, because Mexico. It's my favorite stage in the video game. Pow Pow Cafe, Mexico. I'm like, before we get started, I'm finna take y'all on a little mini tour, because I plan to do a video about every stage in KOF. So I'm gonna give y'all a demo of what the video gonna be about. Do you see all these people? I'm not gonna tell you who none of these people are, but these will be bonus questions on the test. All these cameos in this stage. This game is wonderful. So let's restart back to zero. Internet. Welcome back to the world of the King of Fighters 94. I am, of course, the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And it's my pleasure and privilege to set the groundwork that all my new folks are going to need when KOF 14 come out. Because one of the reasons I decided to approach the Opus this way is this simple. There's a mechanic in King of Fighters 14 called the Rush Mechanic. I want to wean you off the rush mechanic before you even play the video game. Not saying there ain't nothing wrong with mash and square. I would rather you come to this class and ultimately understand how this game works. How the way you're supposed to approach it. Not even approaching it at a high level. I just want all my new folks to approach this video game series with the respect and admiration that it deserves. And you are going to hear a lot of admiration and what this game deserves as we go through the basics that will be the cornerstone of everything you are going to learn about all of the mainline games in KOF. We're gonna get to everything else. I'm gonna take care of you. But we gotta build this house one brick at a time. And we built this house with everything you need to know that are the basics. So let's start with what you're looking at. Amazing boobs. Amazing boobs. Amazing Mexico stage. Shout out to Mexico. Shout out to Montequilla, the greatest Mexican ever. Butters was really good. Everybody should watch Border Town, because that show is the shiznit, because I need that show to get a season 2. Taco Bell is not real Mexican food. It's good, but it's not real Mexican food. I've been to a Mexican restaurant. That shit is the bomb. Letting you know live was really good. Seriously, I'm gonna quit joking, man. I'm just trying to make sure everybody got some time. I'm waiting for my class to fill in, and everybody, I'm gonna need somebody to shut the door, because we about to get to work for real. No more jokes, no more games. The King of Fighters 94, man. Because I've got a chance to start this opus and all of the studying that I've been able to do, I have discovered a whole bunch about this game that I never ever knew before. That I never knew about. And it's going to be a pleasure to share with the internet everything that I have learned. So hopefully that you guys learn it too, because this ain't only for my new cats. This for all my OGs out there too. This for y'all. Because I'm going to drop knowledge on things you probably never even knew about these games. Because that is what I do better than anybody in the business. But enough talking. Remember we talked about a couple of minutes ago before I went on a joke about mantequilla and Mexican girls and amazing ninja boots? All praise Lord Tataki. Life in hometown, baby. We got some hometown for you later. For all my hometown foods, I got you. Look. This is a 2D fighting game. I can prove it. You move backwards and you move forwards. You can jump and you can crouch. This is a 2D fighter. This is how it goes down. This is how it goes down. Regardless of what you might think about your boy and how I'm doing it, there is a reason other than those amazing boobs that are not the biggest in the series, mind you. 92 centimeters, that's Angel and Shermie. Keep count, because, you know, I got that on hookup. There is a legitimate reason why I picked mine. Some history, some future history for a game that, since we are in 94, that's not going to come out for years. There are these two games. You might know them as SVC Chaos SNK vs. Capcom and its sequel, Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. Do you know what those games did for the Capcom characters in SNK vs. Capcom and for all the characters they brought over in Neo Geo Battle Coliseum? What they did for the most part was adapted how characters played in the game they came from. Here's an example of an innovator like SNK doing it way early. This beautiful, sexy crouch walk that mine's got going on right now. The crouch walk is an ability in Fatal Fury 2, and every character who is in Fatal Fury 2 or Fatal Fury Special that is a Fatal Fury character, that being Miss Masha Inui, Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, Joe Higashi, and Ken Kapwan, can all hold down forward and do that. Before somebody try to get smart on me, yes, Rio was in Fatal Fury Special. Yes, in that game he can crouch walk, but in the King of Fighters 94, he cannot. Just want to let you know, that's how thorough this research is. Rio can't crouch walk. Even though he was in a Fatal Fury game that this game is crossing over from, he cannot crouch walk in this game. And if you really think about Rio as the character, and you'll get into that when you play this game on your own time, there's probably a good reason why Ryo Sakazaki does not have a crouch walk. Here's the other thing. You have a dash, a back dash, and a front dash. Here's the thing. As you explore these games and play these games, one of the things you are going to learn when you first pick up KOF 94 and compare it to a game you may have played recently, this game, for better or worse, is stiff and rigid as hell. That a lot of the commands that come out, to guarantee they come out, you probably need to hold the direction it ends in to make sure it comes out. So you can get it neutral. You can go back neutral for a back dash, or front or forward neutral. Hold it just to make sure that the game knows you want to marry that front or back dash, because this game has some weird bugs and intricacies that we could get into, and if I'm unlucky in the middle of this presentation, we might run into one and I'll have to explain it. But for now, just know, when it comes to things we'll talk about later, like super moves and things, this game is stiff and rigid, for better or worse. So you've got to be on your game and understand that this game, when it comes to controlling your character with the control stick on arcade, whatever you're using, the game wants you and wishes for you to commit and marry it and lay it down and have a baby and build a white picket fence around the baby you just had, because you just agreed to that forward dash you just did. Okay, let's review. This is Mexico. Mantequilla, hot Mexican girls, Catila, blah. This is a 2D fighting game. Remember, you can move back, you can move forward, you can jump, you can crouch. because Mai is one of the many Fatal Fury characters in this crossover. Holding down forward allows you to crouch walk. Keep it in mind. So, now that we've done all that, commit to that backdash. Remember, hold back and forward. You can get it on the neutral, but if you hold back and forward your what is the word I'm looking for here? Your chance of doing the actual back or front dash you're trying to do will actually increase and probably come out instead of leaving it neutral, because again, you gotta marry that back dash. You gotta marry them special moves. You gotta do it. Hold the direction when you do it. We'll get more into special moves a little bit later. So, you like triple. Okay. I know the game is a 2D fighter. I know the stage is in Mexico. I may have noticed some characters I may have realized in the back along with these mariachi folks. You may also realize this is some of the best music in the game. I got you. You may be asking, well, I can move, I can do all that. How do I dish out the pain? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I got you. This is a video game made by SNK. You noticed at the how to play screen, because how to play screens are amazing, especially when SNK does them, because it does the job of letting you know the basics and makes it easier for me to regurgitate, because you've seen two characters in the game perform the necessary and important actions you may want to know about before, after you've put a quarter in. So, just to remember from our how to play portion, you have 4 attack buttons: light punch, light kick, strong punch, or strong kick, or heavy punch and heavy kick. Here's the thing about everything I just said. Forget I said it. For all my new folks, I need you to listen closely to what it is I'm about to say, because this is important to me that I let you know this. When you talk SNK games with folks, like real OGs who really in it, they don't say light punch, light kick, strong punch, and strong kick. They refer to them as the buttons as they were on a Neo Geo NVS machine. A, B, C, and D. From this point forward, in any KOF game, and in most SNK games I will talk about, I will refer to buttons as A, B, C, and D. Know that at this point, you're probably going to play this in some collection, maybe on some emulator somewhere. Try to figure out what's the best way you want to play this game. You can play the game 4 buttons straight, just like you were if you were playing on an MVS machine. You could do what they call in the hood a box, which kind of makes it more like the Capcom games you are used to, with your punches on the top and your kicks on the bottom. But remember, A, B, C, D. A thing we're going to get into when I get to really fun games, like when we get around to talking about games like World Heroes and games like Savage Reign and Kizuna Encounter, when you play those on the different collections or whatever, because there's only so much you can do with 4 buttons, there are combinations of buttons that do different things and stuff like that. There are some exceptions in KOF. That's mainly when you get into the Atomic Wave games like Neo Wave and King of Fighters 11 that have 5 buttons, because the Atomic Wave had 5 buttons. I don't know why a machine needs 5 buttons. Oh, and Samurai Showdown Tenka, but that's another conversation. But again, just saying, because I'm getting a little off track, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting you to understand this, because this is foundation. Because you may decide that after you get done playing some KOF 94, you might want to play some Savage Reign. I would suggest you do. Carol is bae. Anyway, what I'm saying is this. Because you can only do so much with 4 buttons, games like World Heroes, let me see, Savage Reign, Kizuna Encounter, what is another game that uses 4 buttons? Fighters History Dynamite, even to a degree Breakers and Breakers Revenge, where you can set buttons to where they do additional attacks, so you can have, because if you got, like on my controller, I got 8 buttons. There are games that actually function with 4 buttons. It's like damn, like you press an 8, because if you press a combination of this button or that button, something like that will happen. So I'm just explaining that in depth, because when you get to playing these games, I want you to play these games and enjoy these games in some comfort and knowing that it's okay to do so. So you can buck a little history, buck the trends or whatever, but as long as you're comfortable and the game is working for you, then why in the hell not? Remember, before we continue, from this point forward, my students, A, B, C, and D. If you refer to them as anything else other than A, B, C, or D, we are going to have a problem. Please do me a favor. Let's not have problems, alright? Here's the thing. Something that KOF is famous for, at least in my view, is how the combo system works. We're not going to get into the combo system until like to the very end of this video. But one of the important things about combos is something you have called a command normal. Luckily for us, our wonderful titted ninja and our cute little karate girl both possess command normals. We'll start with Yuri. So, my student all the way back, please. Thank you. By pressing forward and D, you get that cute little booty bump. Booty butt, chicks! Shout out to Lance. Shout out to my fine game bitches family. Doing the damn thing. Look at that cute old karate booty. For the one time, letting your ass know. Remember, it's forward and D. Here's some more of those building blocks. Right now, command normals are just additional attacks. What command normals will become in this series, they will become key in your bread and butter. See, this is one of the things that I want to get into all my new folks now. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, the point of these videos is for all my new folks. I don't want you going to KOF 14 and Mastering Square. I don't need you to do that. I don't. Because there's no reason for it. Because I am going to do my damnedest to make sure you understand basic combo composition. That combo composition is this. Mostly for the most part, if we're going to talk about a full extended combo, usually it starts with a jumping heavy attack of some sort, depending on the character and what their jumping heavy attack does, or in some cases light attacks do the same thing, but mostly it'll be a jumping heavy attack. That jumping heavy attack will lead into a standing normal, or more than one standing normal, depending on the game you're playing. You will follow that up with a command normal. Why? Because in later games, command normals get the special ability is that if you do a normal before a command normal, that command normal becomes special cancelable. That leads into all sorts of things like super canceling into DMs, or my favorite, dream canceling, because KOF 11 is the best KOF game that hasn't changed yet, and the myriads of other things you can do in other games. But that's combo composition, and that's how important command normals are to this video game. Like I say, characters in this game have command normals. I'll show you. Mine has a command normal. Down, forward, and heavy. I might need to jump in the air with Yuri, so just so you know what it is. That's SmackDown right there. Just so you know, just because I have mine, you can actually start an actual natural combo after that command normal, because if the character ain't in there when my hits it, it treats it like a quicker standing heavy attack. Play around with characters, learn what their command normals are in this game, and know that in later games it's going to become very important to bread and butters. So, I've taken some time to explain to you about command normals, and let me get this controller, because scoot back mine. Karate booty. Letting you know that butt is so cute. It always has been. You don't need a dye, sweetheart. Ever. Don't let nobody tell you, even Robert will ask. You don't need a dye. That booty nice and thick. Letting you know what it is. Shout out to my boy Lance one more time. Fine game, bitches. Anyway, what's next? Well, you know, this is a 2D fighting game. It's in Mexico, and there are hot ladies, and there are some boobs, and a cute karate chick. You know all this. This is a fighting game. So you have throw attacks. Throw attacks are activated by pressing back or forward or C or D. Note that any throw that you use with back does not initiate a position switch. However, if you do a front throw, it does not. And that was a weird bug that happens sometimes where you do a throw and a standing heavy will come out because this game is odd and weird and it affects what we're about to talk about next. Because depending on the character in question, and let me make sure, okay, we good, because I have to make sure that we good. Because this is a fighting game and some characters have that, some characters in this game have air throws. You do an air throw, depending on the character, with any direction except up or down, plus the proper heavy attack. In my case, it's the D button. Because we know down forward, because we learned earlier, down forward C is that smackdown attack you got, which can also be used on the ground and stuff like that. Know this. Air throws are the reverse of ground throws when it comes to position switching. So, remember, just like this, if you do a forward throw, you do not get a position switch. A back throw, you switch sides just like that. No problem at all. Be sure to keep it in mind. Miss Yuri, I'm going to need you to scoot back over this way. Because what's next is something you also saw in the how to play portion provided by this game, because SNK is amazing. The high damage attack. Also known what most OGs call it, the CD attack. The CD attack in this game does this. Booyah! Smacks him right away and puts this much space between your face and her fist in this case. Also know, CD attacks are legit in the air too. They come out as quick as whatever normal is mimicking. And I mean this because that's a jumping D. That's the jumping CD. You can, we drop the controller for this point. I'm almost burped. You can also jump in and do a CD. So it's just not an air to air. You can jump and then get down into the ground and make sure that they fall completely and utterly the other way. So remember, CDs are great because CDs are another facet that you're learning about right now on this foundation portion, and what they do in later games when you introduce wires and introduce wall splats, which KOF 14 have brought back, and stuns and things like that KOF 12 did and things like that. The CD attack is going to go through some ups and downs, and I'm going to make sure that I got you. I'm going to hold your hand on every step of the CD roller coaster, so do not worry about it. So far, you know this is a 2D fighting game with a very beautiful beguiling ninja babe and a sexy karate chick in Mexico, where there are people in the background, something about tequila and mantequilla and Mexican food, which is really good, and Taco Bell is not Mexican food. We went over this. Something about the cartels, the border, and people playing bootleg versions of this game in that country. I don't know. You know all of that. What you need to know is the other side of the ball, defense. Because it ain't all just pressing CDs and doing combos. Sometimes your opponent might get the best of you, and you need to learn how to defend yourself. You defend yourself just like this. Holding back allows you to block any attack that the game considers low or medium. Doing the same thing on the ground by pressing down back allows you to block anything the game will consider in this instance a medium or low attack. Know this, because this game is what it is, counter hits happen if you block wrong. Overheads are a thing in this game, and characters who take advantage of them can do major damage if you are not careful. understand and know blocking is important because it just is. How about that? How about blocking is important because it just is? So, know this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Wrong controller. That might come back to bite me in the ass later. Hope not. Anyway, if you block a special attack, you take guard damage. Yuri isn't, because we are in this special classroom where we're learning about this game. But know that you take block damage. You take block damage when you block anything the game considers a special move or moves beyond that, which we will talk about in a second. You might be looking at me like, yo, Triple, maybe I don't want to stand blocking an attack. Well, lucky for you, I can help with that. Just like this. That right there is attack avoidance. Or what will soon be, you will know as a roll. Because this slowly gets phased out by when we get to the end of KOF 98. This slowly gets phased out in the favor of a more familiar role. So, know this. You are invincible during this. However, and this is important, mistime that and you're going to eat a counter. I don't want my kids out here in the streets eating counters. So, know your attack avoidance. Use it correctly. Don't abuse it too much. Usually I would advocate some abuse of a mechanic as wonderful as attack avoidance. In this case, no. I do not suggest it at all. Tablet, thank you. Because I have one of those. Every now and then, it's a fact of life. You're going to get your ass beat. And when you get your ass beat in this game, you become dizzy. You can mash out of that dizzy by pressing any button when you are dizzy. Because this is a 3-on-3 game, you can receive help from your opponent, from your teammates, by pressing A, B, or A, B, and C at the same time when your teammates are in view. If you can see a hair of a sprinkle sprite of a dot of your friends, you can call them in by pressing A, B, and C at the same time. This ultimately evolves into one of the best things this series ever done with the striker system in King of Fighters 2000. But King of Fighters 2000 is a long way away. But getting an assist attack, that's going to slowly evolve as we get more deep into this saga right here. So no, when you get dizzy, press A, B, and C at the same time. As long as you can see one of your friends, they'll come and help you out. Also know, because I don't want to demonstrate it, know that attack is blockable. You cannot attack the person jumping in doing anything. But just know that attack is blockable. And knowing that you could block that attack, sometimes that can put your foe on the offensive end because you in block shot. So be sure to keep all that in mind. For a while now, during this whole video, I've been throwing Kachokins. That's a Ryumbu. Choshinobi Bachi. All that stuff. Those are special moves. Remember what we talked about when we talked about dashes. Because this game is stiff and rigid, you've got to commit. You've got to commit to the command you are doing on your arcade stick or controller. Every now and then you're going to get a missed input. To make sure that you are covering for possible missed inputs, when you do a quarter circle forward, hold forward and press the punch button. That will let the game know and guarantee that your move comes out the way that you want it to. Now, because I need to reposition mine because, life and hometown and boom, Florida, Taki, blah. If you notice, that meter below mine, that is your power meter. What you may not know is this power meter is very important to the fighting game history of SNK, and because I am who I am, I'm going to explain it to you. If you notice on the right side of our screen, that's Yuri Sakazaki, right? From Art of Fighting. In the prequel to the game, she first officially appeared in as a playable character, that being Art of Fighting 1. I don't know why I'm talking all sideways around it. Is there was a meter in that game called the Spirit Meter. That meter determined how much, what you could do, when you can do, and how powerful it was. The power meter in KOF 94 isn't that exactly, but it is a way to give you access to your more powerful moves more often. Because in the game that followed Art of Fighting was Fatal Fury 2, was the game that introduced the Desperation attack. If your meter was red and if your life bar was red, you could do a move that did a humongous damage. So don't sit up here and think whatever the internet may tell you. Street Fighter 4 did not invent the comeback mechanic with the Ultra, because that was done previously. Because and I've said this a million times, the spectacle of the Ultra was done better and done first in Street Fighter EX. And giving you a way to turn the tide on your opponent started with SNK in Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury 2. In KOF 94, you are able to feel this meter in one or two ways. If you happen to get hit, it feels just a little bit. But if you block, it fills up a whole lot more. This is very indicative of another game, which I would love for you guys to play, that being Power Instinct 2 and its pseudo sequel, Power Instinct Legends, where that game introduced the stress meter, where if your attacks were blocked, it pissed you off, so your meter went up. In this game, because this was the originator, they reversed that. In other words, go play Power Instinct on something. How about that? Pick a Power Instinct game. I wish the Power Instinct game that came out on the Nesca would be legitimately available, but Atlas would rather release more Persona games, so whatever. Just know that fills it up a little bit. That fills it up a whole lot. You may be looking at me like, yo, Trip, I'm not really down with getting hit and exchanging it for meter that does nothing. I agree with you. If you press A, B, and C at the same time, you do a power chart. What this allows you to do is fill your meter faster than you would normally. This is going to be key, because I want you to remember this. Remember what we talked about earlier. No. Better, sexy. The CD attack. When you use a power charge, anytime this is what the match looks like, or even this to a degree, anything where your opponent's best poke, which is usually a fireball of some sort, isn't as effective as it would be because of attack avoidance. But with every good thing comes a counter, and I'm going to need Yuri's help in performing it. Just like in that game we just talked about earlier, in Art of Fighting 1, if you press the C button in that game when you were this way with your opponent, you would taunt your opponent just like that, and Yuri slaps that cute little butt of hers, and you see the power meter goes down. Know this. Let me recharge with mine. You can cancel a taunt into anything. You can press any direction on the control stick, and you can press any button that is not C to cancel your taunt. The thing is, always want to be mash and taunt at this range. You can always mash taunt and then cancel it right into attack avoidance. So there is no excuse. Somebody throwing a fireball at you, taunt you, just like that. You want to take advantage. If your opponent wants to play the zone and thinking they're going to build meter this way, I'm going to taunt, I'm going to slap my cute little butt, and then I'm going to dodge that fireball you may think about throwing at me. This is how you should think about defense in this way, because it's going to lead into offense. Because if your opponent can't get their power meter, they don't have access to their big giant special move, which we're actually going to talk about right now. Once I do a position switch, of course. Forward, down, back, forward, and B and C activates my Shohisatsu Shinobi Bachi. Does a lot of damage. You'd see that damage if, I didn't have to give Yuri infinite life so I wouldn't kill her. But it does anywhere between 35 and 40% life. One of your jobs, your goal as picking a character in this game, is learning what that character's desperation move is. It is key. Because again, treat it as the comeback mechanic that it is. If you know you are sitting on a move that can do 35-40% of damage, knowing that also, as we get into combo stuff in a minute, that you can combo into it, why not be able to know how to exploit that for your best advantage to make sure that you take the round and ultimately the complete battle? The thing is, as we talked about earlier, because this game is more marriage of video games that have come before it, if payback, I just want to get that on the one time. Bang, bop, boop, boom. Sit down. When your life bar is glowing red, like Domon Kashu about to do a finisher on a mech in G Gundam, you enter desperation mode. I heart Alan B. Beardsley something. Always got to get that out there. Look, when your meter is glowing red, I can do that as much as I feel like and want to when I actually do the command correctly. And usually it's hard to do it from that side, and I can't wait till they change it to something that makes sense later. But you get this all day long. Know this. If you're glowing red and maxed, you get what's called a super desperation move. It does anywhere between 50 and possibly 60% damage. Did you hear the numbers that I just said to you, classroom? 50 to 60% of a life bar. Knowing that, because we can talk about combos right now. You can combo that thing from a standing A, standing C. There are things you can do to combo into that move. So, if your power meter full and you're glowing red and you're about to let them know, erupt and burn his finger, motherfucker, know that they can lose anywhere between a little bit more than half their life bar if they get hit by something while you are in desperation and your power meter is filled. That is a dangerous and nasty place to be, and you want to make sure that if your opponent puts you in this position, you want to know, and now you do, that you have a way to reverse the fortune, that you could turn the battle right around with one super desperation move. I think that's about it. I think that's everything except the most important thing. We talked about it earlier. We didn't. We talked about what is ultimately going to be. But we're not playing what is ultimately going to be. We need to know what it is now. This is a game that came out in 1994. And when it comes to combos, usually that works. But that combo, usually they require not a lot. One thing you should do, get into a practice mode, start a game. Press a normal and then do a special attack after. Just so you know what it is that's going on. Characters have things in this game, and I'm not going to spend all day explaining to you what those things are, because I'm letting you know. I just did five crouching A's with Mai. You just saw that. Rapid lows. You have options. But actually, with Mai, what you'll usually want to do is the Ryuin move, because that comes out quicker. And that if you actually do it off of a standing A, it does the 2 hits instead of the 1. So that makes sure that not only are you getting the hit confirm you need, but the move is going to come out successfully. If I can get Miss Yuri to position switch with me, you can cancel into a Desperation Move. We talked about it, and you just saw it back to back. You now have the tools you need to get out there and figure the rest of this out. This, for a game that came out in 1994, it still hold up pretty well. Is that I am going to take back something that I said in the review of this game. Just like 98 and 2002, you should play this right alongside Rebound. Even with everything that Rebound offers and the way that it rebalances the game and things like that, and we'll get into more depth when we get to that point of the opus, when we get to talking about Rebound, is that this is an amazing game. It's an amazing game simply because this was the video game that introduced the crossover to everyone and everything. I've been telling y'all for years. Let me remind you one more time. For the credit that SNK don't get, they have invented a lot. Not invented. I don't want to use the word invented. They pioneered. That's a better word. They pioneered a lot of the stuff that you love. So remember, next time when you on the internet or on certain websites begging for that Marvel 4, remember that in 1994, SNK did the crossover thing bigger than anybody else did back in the day, after the success they had with Rio and Fatal Fury Special. You have learned a whole lot today, and I hope you guys were taking notes and paying attention, because this game is amazing. We got one more little special little mini video to go, and then we'll be on KOF 95, and we're going to have some fun, because it's Iori time. Yeah, it's going down. Before I get out of here, I would like to thank Miss Mashiri Nui. I'd like to thank Yuri Sakizaki. I'd like to thank Montekia. I'd like to thank Lord Tataki. May life and whole town be praised. I would like to thank Authentic Mexican Food. I'd like to thank, I'd like to thank my water, because I'm finna have a swig right now. Cheers, bitches. Speaking of bitches, shout out to Lance and the FGB crew, you know what I'm saying? Showing you what it is. I got you some more. That ass though. That ass though. What's really good. That ass though. Class is dismissed. Go ahead and get out of here. You know basically everything you need to know to get started in playing this game. And like I said, we'll be on King of Fighters 95 shortly. We'll be to that game shortly, and you are going to start seeing the little things that start to change, which will lead into ultimately when we get to KOF 14 and enjoy that game for ourselves. I am so glad that I am able to do this. Because as we talked about in the review, 5 years ago, I was finna do this. And now that I sit here and I'm doing it right now, I am so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't. That video would have been a mismatch of misinformation. It wouldn't have been my best work because, just a secret between us, I have never been more focused on learning and presenting my findings because that's what's important to me. Yeah, I talk about a lot about leaving this behind for my son, but for right now, I'm doing this for me. And I'm doing this for me in a way that benefits those who wish and want to listen to someone who cares about the subject material he's presenting instead of just spewing out that bullshit because nigga it's money involved or motherfuckers need me to do it. I'm doing this because I want to do it. I'm doing this because I want to share my love of this series because this series has given me so much as a video game that I owe it to give it the full triple the G.O.D. special. I owe it that. You guys deserve to have a source about this video game that explains it to you into a way you can understand it and a way that you can digest and then evolve from what I've given you as this cornerstone, as this house that we're building that is the church that is KOF. They probably have one of those in Mexico, probably 2 in China and another in Japan because, you know, Shinihaki Kyaku and all that stuff. Just saying. That's it, y'all. I'd like to thank y'all for kicking it. I appreciate it. Again, I pray you've learned something here. Because I know I didn't spend a week researching this game and learning about this game and presenting this knowledge selfishly and selflessly to you. Because I love y'all just a little bit. I care just a little bit about your growth as fighting game players and as people. And I don't know, I can't speak for nobody else but me. But a lot of what I've been going through personally is I'm trying to break these cycles and break these chains that's holding us down, man. This video is me breaking more than one cycle. I'm breaking personal cycles because I'm doing what I believe in. I'm breaking the FGC cycle because I'm not trying to get in the middle of they bullshit. I'm doing me, and I am happy and satisfied in doing that. You gotta break the cycle. Hell, I've been saying in my head the past couple of days that, yo, I start fires. I don't wish to put them out once I've started them. I don't wish to control or contain them. I put the fire out and I just want to watch it burn. This is a fire about the King of Fighters 94, and I want it to burn. I want y'all to go out here and take what you've learned, and I want y'all to have a newfound appreciation for a game that deserves your admiration. Now I'm done. Class is officially dismissed. Cool to be out at some point. We'll be on Super Metroid next week. You know what I'm saying? Because I got some plans, so, you know, be expecting that. Anything and everything can happen, man. Real quick, shout out to the A Factor. If you guys didn't watch the TVC video, my little cousin graduated from high school. Like I told him, it's only the beginning, and I'm gonna be right there to make sure that he does it bigger and better than I ever could. So congratulations to him, and shout out to Annie Pam. Everybody's out to you. Y'all go ahead and get out of here. Class is officially dismissed. I done said that 4 times. Look, you know who I am. I am the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And of course, this is your favorite YouTube show. That show we lovingly call around here, Triple the Guy that explains it all. Until next time, I'll holler at y'all. Peace.